I promised to follow up my recent post about comparing the sound of the drum mics captured by an AKG C414 an Audix D2, and a DPA 4099. Things get really interesting when you start to compare their published frequency response curves. From my perspective, the D2 sounds muddy and dull compared with the other two. It doesn't have the same impact as either of the condenser mics. One reason for that is the D2 is a dynamic mic, so that's to be expected. Remember that the diaphragm of a condenser mic is lighter than a dynamic mic, which allows it to more faithfully capture the transient response to sounds like the drums. Here's another reason why you may have preferred the Audix D2 on the toms. I recorded each of these mics flat, no EQ, no processing, but as you can see from these graphs, the response of the D2 is intentionally scooped out in the low mids and pushed hard at 5 kHz, not unlike what we would do with a channel EQ to improve the sound of a close mic floor tom or rack tom. In other words, the inherent EQ in the Audix D2 is already doing some of that work for you. Take another listen to my post comparing those drum sounds while looking at these response curves. That'll tell a lot. Along with that same thought process, here's what's happening with the Audix D6 and the Shure Beta 52. Notice the scoop in the low mids and the push in the high end. Both mics are marketed as kick drum mics and work great for that application, but they would not work so great for a voice or instrument where you want a smooth mid-range. By comparison, the on-axis frequency response of the AKG C414 and the DPA 4099 are very smooth. More importantly, take a look at the off-axis response of the DPA. That is what really sets the DPA in a different class. In fact, once you apply channel EQ to either of the condenser mics to pull out that 300 to 500 Hz range, center of the cardboard box sound, and slightly push the top end and maybe push a little low end, you'll get the sound that you're looking for, but with the faithful impact that the D2 can't provide. Don't get me wrong, the Audix drum mic kit is a good solution, and it's available at a reasonable price. It can work very well indeed. The intent of this short microphone comparison was simply to let you hear for yourself that the choice of the microphone matters. We each have our own preferences. That said, the bottom line is we use the mics we have available.